Welcome to the new episode of Seam Down Cricket Talkies. We will be going over the India versus South Africa, or let me rephrase that again one more time. South Africa versus India, first ODI in Pearl that was played. Not a favorable result for India, but of course, quite an interesting game. South Africa won the toss, decided to bat, and put up a target of 296 in 50 overs with a loss of 4 wickets. Some new faces in the team, in the sense, at least relatively new faces. Janeman Malan, he's not a known quantity in the world cricket, but he got the go-ahead and opened the innings with Quinton de Kock, who made a comeback after resigning from Test cricket after the first Test that India played in South Africa. Rassie went to Dussen, of course, coming off a high against India in the Test series. So, and Temba Bavuma was captain. That's another gutsy player that South Africa found after Dean Elgar. So it made for quite an interesting showing. I was interested to see how South Africa would fare, knowing that they left out Rabada from the team and what kind of bowling lineup they would come up with. But I think considering how Marco Jansen performed with the ball in the Test game, it was going to be quite fascinating and a good game of cricket, because he's a young guy and this is the right time to invest in him and to test him out. Andile Felukwayo, I remember watching him in one of the games. I think it was probably his debut series. It was in South Africa, and he seemed to be a crowd favorite. And I was thinking, looking at him, because he was struggling a lot in that game that he was playing, not too many runs, not able to connect the ball. I think South Africa was chasing either way. So he was struggling with the bat, and then he stuck around for quite a bit, and right at the end he just started smashing sixes, or raining sixes, and the crowd went wild. There were a lot of people who had those banners who were really supporting him. So I always wonder why he's not really shown brightly or brighter than he has up till now. So the potential is definitely there. Keshav Maharaj found a place in the one-day team as well, and so did Tabriz Shamsi. He's a character. He did some funny stuff and some fun stuff during the game as well. Now moving on to the Indian squad, or the Indian team for the game. Shikhar Dhawan found a place as an opener, like I was expecting, and he's a man for adversity. Every time his place is in doubt or there is some spotlight on it, he manages to produce the runs. Not that he doesn't otherwise, but those are the times he definitely does produce a run. I think they should always tell him your place is in danger, and he's going to continue to score 50s, 100s, and even 140s or 150s if that's the case. Venkatesh Iyer made his ODI debut today, and Ashwin found the place back into the one-day team, which was expected. Chahal as a second spinner, the leg break bowler. So there we go. Let's go over what all happened. Shreyas Iyer looked good in the short stint that he was there. So did Pant. Dhawan played an impressive 70 odd, and Kohli, of course, was looking really good in India's innings. KL Rahul unfortunately didn't stick around too long. Probably just some good bowling and some bad luck on his captaincy debut. Shardul Thakur did an okay job as a bowler, but I think he played well, and a lot was expected of him as a batter, because he didn't really come off too good during the Test series, even though he showed some grit there, but he would hit a couple of fours, couple of sixes, and then just lose his wicket. So it was an interesting and fun showing for him that he could hang in there, because the all-rounder slot in the team is still open, and I think this is the right time to make a move, solidify that position in the team. Bumrah did a good job in the bowling department, and of course he also stuck around towards the end in the batting during the India's chase. Anyway, that there was not too much to write home about for India's batting. Let's move on to the South African innings, even though that was first played, because there's just only positives, so bad news and good news. South Africa had 2 century makers in the team, and I think anytime a team has 2 people who've scored a century in a game, that team just has psychological advantage. I don't know, but more often than not, you just end up seeing that the team which has 2 century makers ends up on the winning end. I saw the score. I thought it's 296. It's not a big score because a giant number of runs get chased down very easily, and India is a good chasing team. But the fact that 2 people had scored 100 and looked really good, smashed 6s, 4s, I thought that could have an impact. And at the end, of course, hindsight is 2020. It did make an impact. They look good, and South Africa also didn't lose too many wickets, only 4, I think. Right towards the end, they lost a couple of wickets, but going by David Miller, who only scored 2 runs, so you can obviously imagine that the 2 century makers really did a good job. Temba Bavuma as a captain really played well. He looks a really solid player for a guy who was on the fringe. He bounced around in the test team, I remember, as a wicket keeper. He was always competing for his spot with De Kock, and thereafter to find a place where he's doing really well. I'm very happy for him, and now being made the captain. And this is, you can definitely imagine or agree, this is not a quota thing, that this is already spaced, or to correct all the wrong that has been done, because he's really performing well, and he's really standing out as a good player and as a captain. He seems a very solid, smart character, which is what world cricket needs. And it also helps the fact that South Africa is making amends for various stuff race related that has gone down poorly in the country. So all around really good signs. I did see Keegan Peterson in the crowd, and I was wondering why was he not even given a chance to play or even be in the squad. So that's a shame, because he's another character, because he could be the next KP, as a lot of people pointed out. Anyway, kudos to Bavuma. I hope he continues, and I hope he continues to perform well, because you need good players, you need solid gutsy players. Then Rassie van der Dussen, he continued his good form from the Test series, showed a lot of grit there, and also a lot of grit in this one day. Wonderful 100 and 129 I think he made. Looked really solid against India's bowling attack. Spinners or fast bowlers, they didn't seem to trouble him too much. And then moving on to the bowlers, because I think that those 2 batters did the job well, and there was not much the other batters had to contribute in the score. That pause because I want to come to Shamsi, but I'll come to him later. Ngidi made a good, solid mark. He got 2 wickets, and so did Andile Felukuayo, who performed well with the ball as well. So I'm quite happy for him. Aiden Markram opened the bowling, which was a curveball. I wonder what the idea was. The logic behind was perhaps to throw the batsman off their kilter. Bring out a bowler who's not really expected. He doesn't do much with the ball, but just to slow down the pace, and seemed to have worked well. He bowled six overs, I think, and picked up a wicket. I don't think this is a move you will be able to persist with and get away with for a longer period of time. Maybe this series, but this is not something that would work over an extended period of time. But horses for courses. So kudos to Bavuma and the management who came up with this idea. Now my favorite topic from the South African bowling lineup, Shamsi. Yeah, he's a character. He leaves a mark every time he's playing. He likes to talk. I think he taunts the players every time, and he did a good job. He was getting into people's head, or at least he was trying to. He was making comments like, "Oh, you've got a big score to chase," and I was of the opinion that really would not have an impact. But I think the score that had to be chased down towards the end, I think it was 16 or 17 overs odd, and it was still above 7 runs per over, somehow played into his hands and in his favor, that the batsman did get a little bit panicky or played some rash shots, and that contributed to their downfall. So he did his job. He's not the fittest, let's be honest, but I think you expect a lot from an international player, at least in terms of fitness. But I think he, in the scope of the kind of bowler he is, he gets away with it. Every time he has to run, it's always fun to watch him do that. But I think as a bowler, he does his job well. He's a character. He keeps the whole scene lively, which is quite exciting. And I'm looking forward to what happens next. Did he? No, I think it was Keshav Maharaj who picked up Kohli. If Shamsi did, I think Kohli will not hear the end of it. So that's something. Kohli looked good when he batted. Scored a good 50. And I think the ball came a little late when he was trying to slog sweep towards mid-wicket. That's not his go-to shot, or because he's a very technically solid player. He doesn't do fancy shots, or doesn't have it in his arse. I mean, he does have it, but I don't think he needs to, because he's got so many other shots to score runs effectively, which do look good, and he's not playing percentage cricket as well. So unfortunate. A lot of other players as well who had unfortunate dismissals. So did Shikhar Dhawan, chopping one onto his stumps, and Pant getting stumped down the leg side. I think that was the strategy, because Philip Quayo was attempting to do that ball regularly against Indian batsmen, but one wicket is one wicket, and smart thinking there. Now, why did India struggle? Could it be the switch from Test cricket to One Day cricket? I don't think that's it, because there have been new people who've joined the squad from who were intentionally only picked for the One Day team, and some people did make the switch from Test cricket, but I think it was not an extended Test series that you could say, this could have had a toll. Of course, there is a little bit always there, but the middle order did look weak, because I think Venkatesh Iyer didn't live up to what was expected of him. Of course, it's his first game as a ODI player for India, but I think he was being too aggressive, and I felt the same thing happened when he played his T20 debut game as well. He connected a few shots, but he was being so rushed. I think he needs to control that, because this position is in flux. You do not want to be rolled over while the search for an all-rounder continues. Of course, he didn't get a chance to bowl. I think perhaps KL Rahul did not want to experiment too much and see where he stands, where the bowlers stand, give them enough chance and not make too many switches with his bowling changes. I don't think the Indian team was shaded, and if they were, it would be a shock. I think the team is quite fit. They had a decent break, and they looked, or at least would have wanted to look hungry. So perhaps this is a one-off. On the other hand, is this a slump? Because the team has been playing regularly over a long period of time in highly charged series against Australia, then England, and then now here. So if it's a slump, this could be the beginning of it, and a lot could happen. Some changes have happened or will happen as soon as the first test is played against Sri Lanka in India. So could this be the beginning of the of a slump? I hope not, but you never know. These things are unexpected, and you just get over it when you get over it. So let's just go over what the Indian squad is right now and figure out what's going on. Who else could they play in the upcoming games? I think Ruturaj Gaikwad will be one character who will definitely get a chance sooner than later, if not in the next game, but at least he would in the third game. Shikhar Dhawan made his position, made his case stronger as an opener, so that puts a halt to Ruturaj's chances of making into the opening. But he can always be the one down or the two down, but that's something that the management will have to decide, because you cannot be rushing people in and out of the team, because that's not going to look good anyway. Ishan Kishan, well, he's a very interesting and exciting talent, so that's another guy to look out for. There's a chance Yuzi Chahal does not play the third game if he does play the second game, because he's not been at his peak, unfortunately and unexpectedly, though he's a really good bowler. Then Surya Kumar Yadav, do not forget, he's sitting out, so when does he come in and who goes out? I think there are a lot of new faces who'll make a claim to fame, or would jump into the team at any given point of time. I think the balance has to be struck, because you've got a very smart operator in Rahul Dravid, who's the coach of the Indian team. You've got good senior players like Kohli in the Indian team, and all around in general the management staff is quite good. So it'll have to be really thought about how do you bring new people in who are equally good, who are sitting out, and the new people outside who've not made their debuts, who are really good, when do they come? This will be a very interesting and tricky time for management. I think it's a problem of plenty, which nobody complains about, and the plenty that is sitting out is of top quality. So interesting times for India as a spectator, as a commentator. So I'm really looking forward to how they bring in. Of course, I'm sorry, how can you forget Mohammad Siraj? But I have a feeling he might come in the next game and Bhuvi might sit out, because with Siraj you can, or has he not recovered? I don't think we have an update on it, or perhaps we do. But him coming in fully fit will really put a lot of spring in the Indians' bowling attack. So let's see what happens there. Also, I do feel Bhuvi needs to be persisted with. He's been a good team man. He's performed really well over a long period of time. So you cannot be making changes. Wholesale changes. So this, like I was just saying this, picking the team for the next two ODIs will be very, very interesting. You don't want to alienate people, and I'm not talking here in an emotional sense, just because there's limited opportunity. There are only 2 more games left to play. So how much can you really experiment? How does it affect the players? And if they are replaced in a game, do they feel that they are dropped? Do they get picked for the upcoming ODI series and the T20 series that will be played in India? Will they be persisted with? Does having one bad game and looking really bad in that one game affect you that much? Perhaps not, but you never know who comes in and who goes out. I do hope Jayant Yadav also gets a go ahead. He's waited in the wings silently for a long time, so that's something to consider. Deepak Chahar is also sitting out. I saw him bowling in the nets to the Indian batsman during the Test series, so there's another guy. I think if you do replace Bhuvi, I think this is the guy who comes in and replaces him. So interesting times as a spectator, all in all. We did have some fun stuff going around. Akash Chopra mentioned that if Iyer is an all-rounder, but I think the fact that KL Rahul was in his first match as a captain, I think he just wanted to see where did everybody stood. I think I mentioned that before. Of course, Harsha Bhogle pointed out that everything Bavuma touches turns to gold, and I think he did. He performed really well. All the choices he made as a captain also came off really well. Exhibit A, Eden Markram, I mean, bowling 6 overs out of nowhere against an attacking batting lineup like India and not going for too many runs and picking up a wicket. So that has to go in his favour. So kudos to him. I hope he continues to make strides as a captain and as a player. And don't think we have too many interesting thoughts. Of course, you have Sanjay Manjrekar, who's saying something fun, as always, about the Indian performance. I don't think India looked nervous. I just think it was just one of those unexpected times when this happened, and you just got to roll with it. Don't think Rahul Dravid looked concerned as a coach, because everybody's trying to find their footing. He as a coach is trying to find his footing. Rahul as a captain, KL Rahul as a captain is trying to find his footing. It's a different environment. You've lost the test series, which has not happened in a while, so that also will take some air out of the out of the confidence bubble. However, we are looking forward to how it comes about for the team, India and South Africa. The next the next ODI will be played in 2 days' time. It'll be, I think, on the 21st of January, and then the third ODI will be on the 23rd of January. So, fun times ahead. Don't think we have. Oh yeah, Otis Gibson. Otis Gibson is going to be the Yorkshire coach. I think he bounced around a lot as a coach after being the English coach. Then I think he went to West Indies. They did not find his authoritative style too good, and I think then he went to Bangladesh as well, and I think they were too impatient with him, so he quit there. I think Yorkshire or a club of that stature would be a good place to start. I think they're also dealing with certain issues where they had some racism related problems, so him being a strong character and a person of color would at least is a well thought out public statement. It also bodes well because he is an intelligent character as a cricket player, or he was, and as a coach as well, he's done well. So this is a good thing, I think, all around for Yorkshire. And Maxwell hit 154 in a T20 game. I think 2021 was the year of Maxwell. I think that's when he came into the RCB lineup as a foreign player, and now he's been performing well ever since then. So I think finally the big show has come, because where's the big show was a call out. Everybody was questioning his ability or his performance, and finally, good for the guy. I mean, he's earned a lot of money, counting from the time he started playing in the IPL. The performances didn't live up to the potential was there. Could it be like Rohit Sharma? I think Rohit Sharma did perform much more than Glenn Maxwell did. Not to throw shade at anyone there, but still excellent that he's doing really well, and good luck to him. I hope he finds a spot in the test team as well at some point in time. He does have the goods to do his job as a batsman and as a good part-time bowler in a test game. In a one day, of course, he does bowl, in the limited overs, he does bowl a good amount of overs. Who remembers him bowling almost a maiden over against Pakistan when they needed 3 runs, was it, or 5 runs, was it, of the last over? And I think Mohammad Irfan was batting. He just looked out of sorts, wanted to slog him all around the park, did not connect well. That was just a snippet from the past. I think we don't have too much much more that we could go about discussing. I would think this is the right time to move on, and thank you for joining. Looking forward to the next episode. We'll be going over the second ODI that will be played between South Africa and India. This time I did get it right. The home team comes first. Have a good time, everyone. Bye.